There's a lot of conversation out there surrounding school meals, so we're here to set the record straight. This season is all about fact or fiction, and we'll be addressing some of the bigger myths about school nutrition, including questions from listeners like you. It's now time for FuelCast Georgia.
Welcome to another exciting episode of FuelCast. You may notice something a little different. You're joining us live in studio. I am your host, Rolandria Boyce, but you can call me Ro.
And I'm your co-host, Anna Coleman. And Ro, I can't believe we've made it all the way to the end of season 4 of FuelCast.
Yes.
It feels unreal to be here. And so to celebrate, like you mentioned, we're doing something a little bit differently today. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about what we're doing here today?
Yeah, Anna, so this season we had an opportunity to dig a lot deeper into the K-12 culinary culture paradigm. We've had an opportunity to meet with Godot culinary specialists. We've invited school nutrition directors and even cafeteria managers. And based on our conversations we've had this season, it's been so insightful, and we had an opportunity to learn a lot more about how school nutrition professionals are ensuring the service of quality school meals at the district level. So it's been exciting to jump into these conversations. You get to see the mindset of our school nutrition professionals.
For sure. So I think we've got a couple of clips here we're going to look back on. We maybe call it a best of FuelCast season 4, and it should be great. So let's check out our first clip.
Yes, I'm excited.
So, I love the thoughtfulness of the process. It's almost like no stone is left unturned. You guys really think about comprehensively how can you support districts to ensure the service of that quality school meal. Mike, I don't want to leave you with crumbs this time, so I want to transition to you so you can weigh in on that question as well.
All right, so along with doing recipes and make sure they have recipes, I think a culinary specialist, especially with our team here, is pretty unique because, one thing that's a fun fact, I think we figured out we have over 70 years worth of experience with our diverse backgrounds in culinary arts. So that's a huge asset to bring to the districts and stuff. And from my view of it is we work with the teams either through teams or on the phone or in person, but we're building that comfort level with the staffs where they get so used to, we got to get in, we're short on time, we're short on staff, we have to focus and just get the meals out. So we're giving them that comfort level of how they can elevate what it is that they're doing. And it gives them that sense of ownership, that they're learning a trade and they're applying that trade and their pride in it. So as culinary specialists, we're teaching those avenues and kind of taking those blinders off a little bit. We get that tunnel vision. We just got to get the food out. We open that field of view up for them so they can say, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. Yeah, we can roast at 425 degrees instead of everything set at 350 degrees. There is a flavor profile difference that affects that. So they open that up. And I think with all three of us, the excitement is when we see the teams that we work with, they get excited about learning those new tricks and, processes and things like that. And it really helps with their retention too, because now they are really, okay, now we're earning something. We're earning a trade and it makes sense. And we really are providing those quality meals now.
So you just heard an exciting segment from the episode titled, What is Culinary Culture? We had an opportunity to have a wonderful conversation with our chefs, Chef Michael, Chef Rachel, and Chef John. So this segment was really good, Anna. I know you heard Chef Michael say that there was over 70 plus years of experience with all of our culinary specialists. That's exceptionally beneficial for our districts to learn that level of expertise and integrate that into the service of quality school meals.
Absolutely. And something that stood out to me about that was him speaking about when they go into the schools really and giving those managers and frontline staff the confidence to try new techniques. And I love hearing about how, they tried those roasted vegetables, they see the difference, and then they want to continue growing on that culinary journey and building those skills.
Exactly. He really talked a lot about expanding possibilities and exploring possibilities. Sometimes people don't know just how much they can do until you share and you show them that they can do more. So I think that's one of the beneficial parts of like our culinary supports program or our regional culinary supports, all of those culinary opportunities that are provided for our districts.
And once we got into that conversation with our team of culinary specialists, Chef Mike, Chef John, and Chef Rachel, there were so many amazing things that came out of that we couldn't just pare it down to one episode. We had to break it into two. And so we continued on with them and What is Culinary Culture Part 2. And I think we have a clip here from that episode we want to check out. I love that story, and you're also helping open up their world. So Rachel talked at the very beginning about how much her world was opened when she went to Miami and experienced all these new cultures, and you're giving them that at a younger age as a student in schools. I think that's a fantastic example. What about you, Mike? What's an impact you've seen on students as your work as a culinary specialist?
Probably the first one that comes to mind is when one of the schools and part of our culinary support program that we do, where we go out and we work with the directors and we work with the staff for a week. Then we go back and revisit in the spring to see how these little changes that we suggested them are taking effect. I was in a South Georgia district and talking to students my first week there and talking with the staff and making these little changes and stuff. When I went back in the springtime, students recognized that I was back and they thanked me. Said, thank you. I've noticed things have changed and it's for the best. I hope things keep changing like this. So that's very powerful. So unsolicited, I'm just on the line talking to the staff and seeing what they're doing, and they come up to the line and say that in front of the other staff. So you almost feel that staff kind of, stick the chest out a little bit more and shoulders back a little bit. They take a little bit more pride because now it's not just the staff, the students that are implemented and affected. Now it's the staff as well, because they see those extra effort they're putting in, which is going to come second nature. So now it's not really going to be an extra effort because now it's just everyday way we do things, but it's affecting both the students and the local staffs as well.
So this is a clip that I think about all the time, Ro. I'm going to be honest with you. After having that conversation with Chef Rachel, I think we both had a mind-blown moment when she said it's not nutrition until it's consumed.
Yep.
And that is something that really the K-12 culinary culture focuses on. Is you could have a meal that maybe meets all the compliance standards, but is it something that tastes good, that looks good, that the students want to consume and get those nutrients in their system?
Exactly. So if it's just food on a plate, it doesn't really matter until kids are actually eating it. That's the goal. So like Chef Rachel mentioned, school nutrition and culinary culture is not one-dimensional. She talked a lot about how food safety was a part of it, presentation, understanding your target audience and understanding your team. So it's really a comprehensive approach to ensuring the service of quality school meals.
Definitely. So much more than just putting a meal on a tray. There's, so many components, and our local districts do it beautifully.
Absolutely, totally agree. So we had a wonderful opportunity to talk to our farm to school specialist. You'll hear a segment titled Farm to School Focus. We wanted to explore how expansive our reach is with our local farmers and what that does in schools and how does it influence quality school meals. So let's take a listen.
So you both have shared a ton of great information with us already, but this season is all about culinary culture. So how, in your opinion, do farm to school programs impact culinary culture in local school nutrition programs? You've touched on it a little bit, but if you have any expanded thoughts, Angie, we'll start with you.
Well, one of the things I think about was student lunches, and even when I was a kid, sitting at the table and having that tray, you may get to experience foods that are either common to you or maybe new to you. And in that experience, you get to develop your own food preferences of what you enjoy to eat, what the food may provide you, because it may provide an inquisitiveness of what is it? Why do I want to eat it? Is it good for me? And also, one of the main things that comes full circle is I can recognize the food going forward at that point in time, recognizing that I love it, and I'm going to seek it out again. I'm going to recognize it to pursue it for another meal. And that's one of the great things about introducing varieties of foods, is the relationship that we all have and will develop over time with food.
A huge part of K-12 culinary culture is exposing students to those different menu items and new things that maybe they haven't experienced, and building those lifelong preferences. So that's a great point. What about you, Dorothy? How do you think that Harvest of the Month and Farm to School impact that K-12 culinary culture?
Yes, I mean, I'll definitely initially echo what Angie said, just having the opportunity for students to try new things that maybe they otherwise wouldn't. I think that's a great opportunity that we in school nutrition can offer. Speaking a little bit more to the culinary science side of things, I think there's also this opportunity for introduction of new cooking techniques. So I think a lot about roasting. Like, I probably never roasted anything until I got to college and was like, I should probably maybe eat a lot more broccoli than I normally would. But I learned how to roast, and it's really just develops great flavors. So I think that's something our students are getting exposed to through our programs, but also all of our school nutrition professionals are also learning new techniques through this as well. So just encouraging that. And then we also talk a lot about how to maybe season things a different way. So using fresh herbs and spices to introduce new flavor profiles to our students. So I think Harvest of the Month also affords us with that opportunity. So just trying and introducing new flavor profiles through it as well.
So I love that clip because what Dorothy and Angie both really are getting at is that the school cafeteria is part of the academic school day, and our Georgia students, they are learning. They're learning about new foods, they're learning about new flavors, they're learning about, with Harvest of the Month, when things are in season, what we grow in Georgia, the agricultural career. I could keep going on and on, but there's so many things that they learn that maybe they would never be exposed to in their life without school nutrition.
Yeah. Angie and Dorothy made the point basically that school nutrition is exploratory. So, children get an opportunity to see what it is, what do I like, what don't I like, variety, and to your point, Anna, about school nutrition being a part of the academic process, it gives them an opportunity to connect food to their learning.
Yes.
So I think that makes it even more significant and more meaningful to them. It's not separate. Academics and school nutrition go together.
So after talking with our team of culinary specialists and our 2 farm-to-school specialists here at the Georgia Department of Education, we really wanted to branch out this K-12 culinary culture conversation to the people in our local school districts who are working with school nutrition every single day. And who better to start with than someone with a tremendous energy, and that is Chef Reggie Sloan, the culinary specialist for Fulton County Schools. So we talked to him in our episode 4, Creating Connection Through Culinary, and we have a great clip to listen to.
For the past 5 years, Fulton County has hosted an annual Student Choice Food Challenge.
Oh,
So
yes.
tell us about that competition and what are the rules of engagement and how does it work?
All right. So what happens is, we really want to make sure that we're adding new things on our menu and new ideas. And so what we do, we invite 3 different levels of school, elementary, middle, and high. You might have 6 different schools, but they just pick a class. So it's not like the whole school is coming. So it's like a class that we choose or whatever. And it switches every year and you get a different school. And so we might have 10 different recipes for them to try. And so when they come to our event, it's like a passport. We give them like this book, and it's very interactive. So they try each of the different sections. And what we do, we try to get some of the vendors that vend for us to have them come and they serving some of their stuff so they can kind of see, how we get information and gather foods. And it's a really, really cool event because the kids are interacting with the different meals. They get to vote on which ones they like. They get to be more expressive, say, what they don't like about it. And at the end of it, they get like their passport stamped and everything.
Awesome.
And we collect that information, and that puts on our menu, that tells us what we need to put on our menu for the next year, what kids are really liking. We did one thing where we did pickle pizza. Something really different, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it kind of hit in the middle, so we didn't add that one, but it's something really cool. A lot of times we want to try different ethnic foods and stuff. That's one of the best time to try to get a better gauge on, what do kids are really going to eat. And a lot of those items that they do choose will be on the menu for them. And it also gives those kids to tell their friends about what they just experienced and to come and try out the cafeteria. Now everybody wants to come, and so it works all around.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like the kids are really excited about the challenge
Yeah.
opportunity. Would you say one of the biggest observations for you may be increased participation? Share, like, what are some of the observations from the student perspective that you've witnessed?
The observation, like you said, increased participation, but also having the kids open up and telling us what they want.
Mm,
A lot of
good.
times as adults, we assume they're going to like this,
Mm-hmm.
but we
Mhm.
never really ask them.
Yeah.
And our whole thing is to make sure we're making stuff geared towards our students, and I look at it as the information they're going to feedback, because kids will be honest with you if you give them the
Absolutely.
opportunity to sometimes a little bit too to be honest, but it kind of gives us a sense of what kind of things we need to be looking for. What do they really care about? How can we cater to them and their needs to increase our participation and to increase more variety in the schools? And it's also a good way to explain to students why we do the things that we do. And our prime example is we had Hispanic Heritage Month,
Mhm.
right? And one of those menus, one of those items was a tamale that from the, I think from the Kids' Choice. Now, us being a diverse county, we noticed that some kids on this side may not like tamales as much.
Yeah.
That's what we assume.
Right.
Mhm.
Until we put it out there but the feedback was great. We gotta let them try it, and
Mhm.
also it's open up our eyes. Our managers get to experience new foods too, that they can
Yeah.
be excited about. So it's cool.
So many of your responses, Reggie, I don't even know if you are hearing it, are hinged on shifting the mindset around food
Yes.
through all of the activities that are taking place in Fulton
Hmm.
County. And I think in a lot of ways, that's where change happens. If we can
Yes.
shift people's thinking and mindset around food in and of itself, and the greatest impact is that we get to do that with students, that we could potentially influence like their long-term eating
Hmm.
behaviors to
Yes.
healthy, diverse variety. Food can be good and it can be healthy. So
Hmm.
we
Mhm.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Reggie mentioned a lot of valuable
Yes.
pieces. So up to this point, we heard about the K-12 culinary culture with our
Mhm.
chefs. They talked about the expansion of farm to school, with Dorothy and Angie. But Reggie kind of introduced a different kind of perspective, very student-centered. And if you think about the service of a quality school meal or excellence in school nutrition, it's cumulative. So it takes all of these building blocks to make this outstanding product. And he mentioned a lot about that, and I think a lot of it's inspired by curiosity and creativity. So he's exciting and comical in a way, but he finds a way to interject creativity and curiosity into his process to ensure his students are getting exactly what they need.
Definitely. And just thinking about his end customers in mind. So really keeping that student feedback and the students at the center, and even talking about and being in such a large district, maybe
Yes.
they do different things at different schools throughout the district. And that it also shows to me how diverse Georgia is with our
Yes.
K-12 culinary culture, that each school may not do everything exactly the same,
Right.
but if they listen to their their student feedback, their population, and see what they want to see, that they can really connect with those students through that
Right.
culinary piece.
Right. And it's proof that Reggie is not afraid of innovation,
That's
because
right.
he talked about a lot of different creative opportunities to get students engaged, and I believe it's working.
And I also loved how he mentioned, with the student food show, that he also has vendors come in and the students can really see that process of how the food
Yes.
gets from, it doesn't just show up, it has a whole
Right.
process of, the industry part of it as well, which is great for that career component. So really
Absolutely.
a lot of great things there.
Great episode. All right, so we've had an opportunity to hear segments related to K-12 culinary culture, farm to school, and some of the wonderful innovative activities that are happening in some of our local districts. But we know for real change to occur, staff buy-in has to be at the helm of that. We have to ensure that our teams are brought in so they can carry the initiative forward. So we had an opportunity to sit down and talk to Kim Kiker and Shelley Whitten in Calhoun City Schools to talk a little bit more about how they are embracing culinary culture. So let's take a look at that clip.
So I want to transition into another question. The Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Division hosts an annual culinary support pilot program where our team of culinary specialists select schools to visit throughout the school year and provide the staff with hands-on advice and practical methods to create a strong K-12 culinary culture. We know Calhoun Elementary was one of the first schools to participate in this program in its pilot year. So Kim, can you tell us why you decided to apply for the culinary support pilot program in your city?
Sure. One of the reasons is we're a small system. We only have 5 schools, so we really don't have the resources to hire our own chef. Although I would love to have my own chef, we just don't have those resources. And we believe that we have great quality meals as it is, but you can always do better. And we wanted the help and the assistance of a chef, a trained chef, to come in and help us see what we could do better and how we could go to that next level with our meals.
Wonderful. We often talk in our agency about doing that 1% more, that one small effort can push you in a completely different direction. So kudos for you for identifying an opportunity for your team to be better and utilizing us as a resource to help you get there.
Absolutely.
And so, Shelley, as the manager, what was it like for you to participate in that culinary pilot program?
I really enjoyed it. I personally, it was neat to see the different things that he brought to the table. It was nice to watch how my ladies interacted and how they saw the little light bulbs that went off in their minds too. But so it was really neat. I felt like for the kids to see that, we're trying to do more for them. Like you said, the 1% more, that they matter enough to us to have somebody like a chef come in and show us different things that we can make for them instead of just, pizza from a box or tacos from a box. And so that also inspired us to start doing more. Instead of buying frozen burritos, we make our own burritos.
Wonderful.
We do fresh vegetables, like, we chop up our own squash and zucchini and sweet potatoes and roast them. So the different flavor profiles was also very exciting and new. So the kids really, it's amazing the difference that it's made in what they will pick up now.
So one of the noteworthy takeaways for me in this segment is related to Kim and her team identifying a need. That speaks to that level of curiosity that really stokes change. So she identified a need of her team and she utilized the available resources that were readily available to her through our culinary support initiative. So kudos to her for seeing the need and taking the next step to get the support her team needed.
For sure. I was really excited about these episodes before doing them because, we hear a lot from our team of culinary specialists about all the great projects that they're working on in this Culinary Support Schools program. But I really was excited to hear the impact that it was having. And it's great to hear that the students reacted well, the staff reacted well. And I really think this culinary support pilot is a perfect example of, our pillars of quality school meals, professional development, and student and community engagement. It hits all of those marks and is making a difference.
Yes, I totally agree.
But you mentioned some of these changes that you've made, like roasting sweet potatoes, doing homemade breakfast burritos. That's fantastic. What is your staff's reaction to that? And how, as a manager, were you able to help get them to buy in to giving that 1% more?
I really am blessed with a really good staff that, for the most part, they're all excited about that. I have explained to them that the more kids we feed, the more secure their job is. And they're very good. They all have that getting them to buy in was the main thing. And they all have, because when we start something new, I'm out there with them making it. And so I think it's all in the way I ask them to do it too. And so, this might be a little bit more difficult, but we can do it. And they are like, and so they'll do it a time or two, and then they're like, we don't need you, you're fine. We can do it. So they're incredible.
And I'm sure once they hear that student feedback, it makes them want to do it even more.
So when we talk about good leadership, I already mentioned that Kim identified the needs. She did the needs assessment. That's what encouraged her to reach out to the state agency to see what supports could we offer. Well, it's apparent that they have substantive leadership in their district that encourages them to move things forward. Shelley mentioned that she didn't just ask her team to do something, she got involved and she walked right by their side to help them move the initiative forward, to help them do better as a team. She didn't just say, go do it, I'll watch you do it. She got involved and walked next to them, so that's noteworthy.
Definitely, and I think this clip is just another example. All the clips we've listened to so far today about the K-12 culinary shift really starts with a mindset shift, and it's about changing that mindset and believing in the possibilities of what can be done.
Yeah, it's all connected, isn't it?
All connected.
So, Shelley, as the school nutrition manager, what are some of the ways you get staff buy-in for a larger focus on culinary?
I really encourage them, and then when they do a good job, and a teacher comes in and says, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing," or they send us an email and say the kids love this, I don't let it stop with me. I go straight to them and tell them, this is what they're saying about you guys. I think that's very important to lead them with as much encouragement as possible. And again, explaining to them the difference in just feeding a child and just saying, here it is, take it. It's a big difference, and they all have that passion.
Putting the right people on your team, putting the right people on the bus to drive that bus. And it sometimes takes a while. And, it took Shelley a few years when she transferred from Whitfield to Calhoun to develop her team. But now she's got a team that they work together well. They follow Shelley's lead. They follow each other's lead, and they get along, and they want to do a good job. I think they want someone to come recognize them.
A little bit of praise goes a long way. So I think it's really valuable to encourage your team. And if you see them doing something that's positive, that supports the overall mission and vision, say something so they can continue to do those things.
I mean, we eat the food every day.
Yeah.
We eat in our schools every day. I encourage my central office to eat in our schools. They'll come, like we do pre-made salads, and we'll bring those to the central office, or they'll come and they'll make meals, and they know it's a good value to eat with us. So I've always encouraged staff and teachers to eat with us so that the kids see that, and they know when the adults, they mirror what we do. So
Absolutely.
So much was said in that segment. Kim, first of all, she talked about eating in the schools, which models good behavior for the students. So if students see the adults doing positive things, they'll follow suit like kids do. But also, they really did talk about ways to get that staff buy-in through setting goals and moving forward, not just summarily moving towards a target, but identifying the viable steps to get there through continual improvement, looking at what we're doing, how are we doing, that evaluation piece, and shifting things forward to continually move towards excellence.
For sure. And so many just examples of positivity in that clip, the positive reinforcement of sharing, positive feedback and modeling for those students, really doing things in a way that is uplifting to everyone. And I love them mentioning they eat in the schools every day. That's modeling good behavior. And, I bet they think, the students and staff probably think, oh, they're doing that to, show good behavior, but really they're the ones getting the best deal because they're getting that good quality school meal every day for the good
at a good price.
Good price. So after talking with Calhoun City Schools and hearing those great stories and examples of impact of participating in the Culinary Support Schools pilot program, we wanted to talk to another school district that also participated and worked with our team of culinary specialists and see what their impact was. So we were able to have a great conversation with Megan Gower and Brooke Higgins of Beaufort City Schools and learn a little bit about the impact that the Culinary Support pilot program had on their students. So let's check out that clip.
That's awesome. So what was the students' response? Did they notice the changes? What kind of, I know Megan mentioned getting some not so great feedback, but what about their feedback afterwards?
They noticed immediately. They knew when Chef Rachel was in the building. And I think it just trickled down from each class period. They were looking for Chef Rachel. But essentially, our line diagrams, our line presentations, they noticed that the food was pretty, that it was displayed nicely, that the extra toppings that she would put on stuff, like the sumac and sesame seeds, and just how it was displayed. Before they couldn't see the food. So they made comments, and there was some, ooh, what is this? But there was more positive than negative.
What about you, Megan? Did you get any feedback from students or parents or?
Yeah, they loved it. I mean, even down to the teachers and the custodians. I mean, everyone noticed. I wasn't there all day with them, and so I would just pop in during lunchtime. And I can't remember what it was the first day that they did when I popped in. And it literally sounded like there was like a concert in the cafeteria. I mean, the kids were coming in the line, hooting and hollering. It was the same menu we had always served. It was just set up different. I mean,
Wow.
it was nothing different. I mean, and that's when it really opened my eyes to what the presentation of our lines. And Rachel would always say, go in like you're a student, go in like you're a student. It was huge. And I had never done that. Like I'm in the schools a lot, and I'm talking to my employees. I'm looking at equipment, I'm looking at all the different stuff. I'm not in the line like a student. I had never even thought about that. And the sheet pans, like seeing the sheet pans on the line and the bun pan bags on the line. And it was crazy to me. Like my mind was literally blown when I walked in that first day. And then that Friday, one of the Fridays she was there, she did limited time offer pizzas. You would have thought that we were Papa John's or Pizza Hut coming in there, bringing these kids, specialty pizzas. And, they're like, well, what if I don't like it? It's fine. You try it. And if you don't like it, come back up here and I'll give you another piece that you'll eat, and just, they were so excited, and seeing like the joy and excitement in their eyes, it really was huge for our staff.
Another really good episode. We're always excited to hear our districts go from 0 to 100, for lack of better comparison. They identified a need again, much like Calhoun City. They identified a need. They wanted to do better. They want to consistently provide quality school meals. So they tapped into the resources that we have available for them to help them get there. It was also noteworthy that they made small incremental changes. We don't want to negate the value of doing small incremental changes that lead to big results, because those positive outcomes that she mentioned from the support of Chef Rachel with line design and just displaying food differently, it created a whole nother level of interest for the student and the teachers.
It really did. And, just mentioning that she had the same menu for some of that she had the whole time, but she was so much more conscious of how she presented it, how the students were going to see it, what that experience was. And it shows too, sometimes it's little things, incremental changes that really grow into being a full culinary culture. So you don't have to start all at once. You can take those small steps and get better and better.
Absolutely. Baby steps matter.
That's right.
So we consistently have been providing examples of how culinary culture is showing up in our districts. We had an opportunity to sit down with Cindy Culver, School Nutrition Director, Marietta City Schools, and Chef David. They talked a lot about the commitment to community through culinary. So let's take a look at that segment.
Yes. So, Chef David, can you tell us a little bit about your career path? Like, how did your culinary career lead you to working in school nutrition, and why did you apply?
You know, I mean, I never saw myself working in school nutrition, to be honest with you. I've been in the restaurant industry for 20 years, and my thought was just I was going to finish it off there, right? Um, but, you know, last year, I said back in May of 24, I've always I've always had not necessarily an issue, but I've always wanted to have a better understanding of how school nutrition worked. And my son, he goes to MCAA. He's a third grader, and I'd always ask him like, how was your lunch? What'd you eat today? And I wasn't too happy with some of his food choices that he was making.
Mhm.
So, that kind of prompted me to go ahead and send an email to the superintendent, which then led to a conversation with Cindy. And then from there, basically led myself into Hickory Hills, which is an elementary school. And I basically kind of just was there for the afternoon or in the morning, just kind of just take a look at what was going on.
Mhm.
I needed to get a full understanding of what school nutrition was, and what were the challenges, and it definitely opened up my eyes to a lot. Um, and further conversation, some tastings that I did, and basically I saw this. Cindy had let me know that they had a chef position open up, and I did a little self-reflection.
Mhm.
And I have the skill set, and this was an opportunity to go ahead and change something. This was really meaningful to me. And obviously because my kid goes to school, and I thought that this is an opportunity for me to go ahead and be impactful. So that's why I went to apply for the position, and then we went through the interview process a few times. But it was good though, because it was super, super, super important, because this was the first, position that they had for a chef, and they wanted to make sure it was a good fit.
I love that Chef David not only identified a problem, but he became the solution.
Yes.
So he, through conversation with his own child, he chose not to be a complainer. He reached out to the key players, key stakeholders to get things shifted in the right direction, and he became a part of the solution. How cool is that?
Yes, and it shows, education and school nutrition really is a collaborative effort.
Yes.
And that's the power of that community engagement, because Cindy was open to hearing parent feedback. She was
Yes.
open to welcoming him in. He was willing to participate in his son's educational experience. And look at what a beautiful partnership it led to, with him now being the district chef. I mean, those are the kind of stories that really are amazing.
Right, and now his influence is it reaches further than just his child. He has the opportunity to influence all the children in the district.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think to add on to that, the community is the base of who we are as a district. Every district has its own personality and its own community and its own culture. Our motto and our logo for our district school nutrition program is Eat, Learn, Graduate. And how we interpret that is we want to ensure that all students have access to food so that they can eat in order to learn. And then the ultimate goal is to graduate. And in school nutrition, we want to be part of that process, for them to be able to learn, to be able to graduate. In order to do that K-12 culture, when you're looking at our culture in Marietta City Schools, we're over 60% free and reduced, which means, yes, many of our students need this food. Although one thing that I really try to remind our managers, our food service assistants, is that regardless of who you are, where you come from, if you're free and reduced or not, it still has to taste good. It still has to be presented with a smile. It still has to look good. Food, that culture of food is really important. And we want to ensure that, we continuously improve on our food presentation, the variety that we have. And again, going back to what Chef David was saying with our community, that authenticity when we're adding new recipes is looking at who our culture is. Because again, in Marietta City Schools, the majority of our population is minority. And so we want to incorporate the flavors that our students are used to, but also introduce those flavors to all of our students, because that's part of the learning opportunity that we have in school nutrition is to incorporate new flavors, new tastes, and just different food cultures that our students can learn about.
And that's another powerful clip there, really.
Yeah.
I mean, community is at the center. And when you think of a culture and you think of a community, food is one of the first things that comes to mind.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the community of your school, that food culture, that K-12 culinary culture is so important to the overall culture of the school and the district as a whole. You know, and her saying their motto is eat, learn, graduate. Again, like we mentioned earlier, it's pulling nutrition back into the academic day, making it such an important part of the students' academic learning and their social and emotional learning throughout the school day.
I couldn't agree more. That was one thing that stood out to me was her mentioning of the eat, learn, grow, but it also speaks to the value of setting a goal and moving towards that goal. So everybody is on the same page. It's synergy to an extent.
Yes.
Nobody's doing their own thing. We're always pointing back to our own goals that they keep us aligned, very much like our quality school meals, student and community engagement, and professional development. If you ever feel yourself going off track, pull yourself back to those identified goals so we can make sure we remain in alignment.
Definitely.
So, Cindy, I'm going to stick with you for a minute. We have heard there is a relationship between Marietta City Schools Nutrition's program and the Marietta High School culinary classes. What does that look like, and how did that partnership form?
So this is something that I'm really, really proud of. Chef Watson is our culinary high school teacher, and she's been there for the past few years. And we have built, again, a camaraderie with her and with her students. You know, one thing that we always say, and she says to us, we're like, you know, we're her people. You know, her being the only culinary teacher in the school, we get her, she gets us. We talk food, we have fun, but more importantly, it's an opportunity for our students to see what it is that they're learning in real life. And we happen to share the dock, you know, where our groceries come in. So we literally are just a few steps away from each other. And again, I'm going to let Chef talk about some of the integration that we've done this year, but it's something that we've been building on for the past few years. And it was really important for us to be able to continue to build that relationship with our chef and Chef Watson so that we can incorporate more of that learning from our culinary students. So it's just been a win-win-win for all of us because, you know, the students have learned a lot. They get to do hands-on learning, but we, again, that's a whole other group that we get to get, you know, that we receive that immediate feedback from students who are interested in culinary, and they can understand, like when we're asking you, do you like this? They can describe it better. You know, they can give us that response that will help improve our program. And the other thing that I think, you know, building that trust, because our students are now working within our kitchens and, you know, from serving to cooking to prepping and so on and so forth. Now we have the trust from them and they have the trust from their peers because they're seeing their peers behind our lines. So it's really just been a phenomenal way for us to really increase, especially at the high school level, where, you know, sometimes it's hard to tap into those, you know, to that grades. And so it's been really just a good way for us to build more relationships with our high school students and just have those opportunities to get that one-on-one feedback.
Now, Cindy said a few things that stood out to me. She mentioned the value of creating opportunities for students to apply what they have learned. We've mentioned it in our conversation today that learning is experiential, but if you're just absorbing information and you can't have a place to have an output or apply it, it could potentially lose value. So I think it's important, or it's noteworthy that they have found a way to place emphasis in that area to provide an opportunity for the children to apply what they have learned, but also the fostering of confidence, giving them the opportunity to provide feedback based on their own dining experience. That creates a level of confidence in a student that can't not be ignored. And it gives them an opportunity to take ownership in their own development and the process of the experience that they're involved in.
Definitely. And I mean, in an episode where she talked so much about culture and connecting to that. She, tapping into those culinary arts students is just another example of how she's broadening that audience.
Yes.
And what a better experience for those students who are interested in a culinary career to not just have that theoretical practice in the classroom, but have some really hands-on experience with the school meal program, and at the same time become then great promoters to their fellow students of, hey, you want to try this salad today because I cut up those cucumbers. So that's really wonderful to see that collaboration happening.
Yeah, they're like secondary promoters of the program. So I created this part, you try it because I did it. That gets a whole nother level of buy-in from student engagement. So that's exciting.
So it's been so fun today getting to look through these clips and kind of revisit some of the best moments of FuelCast Season 4. And there is one more episode left to discuss, and that was when we got a chance to chat with April Cox and Lisa Hernandez of Hall County, who was another participant in our Culinary Support Schools pilot program, about their experiences and the way that they use student feedback to influence their decisions and striving to just do a little bit more every day. So let's check that clip out.
So at the center of a K-12 culinary culture is that quality school meal. And April, we can start with you, but when you hear the phrase quality school meal, what does that mean to you? What is a quality school meal?
In my mind, it means that I've done everything for that meal to be the absolute best. I've brought in the best options for the entree. I've brought in the best options for the sides. I've done my best work on preparing the food the way that it should be prepared. The presentation that I've given is the best. So if I have fruit, I can garnish it. If I have a salad, it's nicely tossed with some other vegetables in. Just really going over and above to make sure the smallest details to the largest are done at the very best that they could be done. And that also includes customer service. So when a child comes through or an adult comes through to pick up their meal, not only are they receiving the best meal we can give them, but they're receiving the best service as part of that meal.
You know what I love about that clip is we didn't ask her what was the best school meal. We said, what is a quality school meal?
Yeah.
And to her, quality is the best.
Yes.
The quality means that you are getting the best possible meal that that student can have.
Yeah.
So it's not about minimum standard. It's not about regulations. It's about exceeding those standards and really providing, a beautiful meal that's to taste good and served with excellent customer service, which is huge too.
Yeah, that was the biggest part to me. She didn't only mention the food items, but the customer service mentioning to me means she has an understanding of a student's experience. So she doesn't just want to give them food. She just doesn't want to feed kids. She wants to serve them to an extent. That's all encompassing. We want the students to have a wonderful experience so they can consistently come back and bring a friend.
Yes, and that quality school meal, it's not just the food on the plate. It's everything that goes into it. It's, the temperature, the way it looks, the way it smells, how comfortable was the student in the line?
Yeah.
How was the customer service? Where are they going to eat that meal?
Right.
And I really love her view on that it's all encompassing in one.
Yeah, love it. So as always, we've had a wonderful opportunity amplifying the value of K-12 culinary culture in schools and in cafeterias. We had an opportunity to identify those connections to quality school meals, student and community engagement, and professional development. Thank you for joining us today.
Want to learn more about school meals in Georgia? Here are 4 easy ways to stay in the know. Learn what's on the menu in your student's school. Follow your local school nutrition team on their social media accounts. Go eat a meal with your student in their school cafeteria. And as always, connect with us, the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Division, to know what's going on statewide. You can connect with us via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn with the hashtag FuelingGA. You can also email us at fuelingga@godot.org. Until next time, the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Division is fueling Georgia's future with excellence, one quality school meal at a time.
You've got more questions, and we're here to answer them. Listen each month for a new episode of FuelCast, Fact or Fiction. Connect with us via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn with the hashtag FuelingGA. You can also email us at fuelingga@godot.org. Until next time, the Georgia School Nutrition Division is fueling Georgia's future with excellence, one school meal at a time.